Good morning, students. Today I am back with revision of the topic respiration. Now first we should know what is respiration. Respiration is a biochemical process that involves the uptake of oxygen from the environment and then the stepwise oxidation of the food with the help of that oxygen and elimination of carbon dioxide that is produced during this oxidation process, and subsequently there is a release of energy. So all living organisms need energy to carry out their functions. The digested food has been absorbed. The absorbed food components are subsequently assimilated in the body cells. These assimilated molecules hold energy in their chemical bonds. Their bond energy is released by oxidation in the cells. So the process of oxidation is carried out with the help of oxygen, and carbon dioxide and water are released as byproducts along with energy. So respiration is a biochemical process. So we can now differentiate between respiration and breathing. Respiration is very much different from breathing. How? Respiration involves external and your internal respiration as well. And external respiration refers to the inhalation and exhalation of carbon dioxide produced during the oxidation of food. Internal or cellular respiration involves release of energy by the oxidation of food and conversion of that energy into energy-rich molecule, that is your ATP, or the energy currency of the cell. Whereas breathing is a simple physical process where inhalation of oxygen and exhalation of carbon dioxide takes place. So here only exchange of gases takes place and there is absolutely no release of any kind of energy. Now we have actually two types of respiration, aerobic respiration and anaerobic respiration. Now in this you can just find out the different ways by which this glucose is metabolized. Glucose is the actual food, the actual substrate, which is a 6-carbon molecule, and then how it is broken down in the cytoplasm, how it is oxidized in the cytoplasm to pyruvate, which is a 3-carbon molecule. It takes place definitely in the cytoplasm. Now what is the fate of this pyruvic acid or the pyruvate? It has got different kinds of fate depending upon the availability of oxygen. Now before we get into this, we must know certain things. That glucose is a 6-carbon compound and it is a simple food which is oxidized in the cells of organisms during respiration. The oxidation of glucose to pyruvic acid or pyruvate as you call it is called glycolysis and it occurs in the cytoplasm of a cell. The oxidation of glucose to pyruvic acid or pyruvate does not require oxygen, and one molecule of glucose on glycolysis produces 2 molecules of pyruvic acid or pyruvate. Okay? Now, the fate of pyruvic acid formed during respiration depends upon the availability of oxygen, that is whether oxygen is present in the cell or not. If oxygen is present in the cell, then what happens? It is completely oxidized into carbon dioxide, water, together with the release of very high amount of energy. What is the high amount? It can be 38 molecules of ATP, which results in 686 kilocalories of energy. If there is absence of oxygen, that means if oxygen is not present in the cells, then pyruvic acid is converted into ethanol and carbon dioxide with little amount of energy, or it can be converted into lactic acid with little amount of energy in our muscle cells. Okay, so in both these cases the release of energy is very much reduced. Now lactic acid is also a 3-carbon atom compound, and it is due to the accumulation of lactic acid only in the muscle cells that we start feeling muscular pain after a vigorous exercise, because the anaerobic respiration happens in the muscular tissues and skeletal muscles due to insufficient supply of oxygen over there, and thereby the glucose is metabolized anaerobically due to vigorous exercise. Now in this slide, the same thing has been demonstrated in a different manner. That is, same thing, glucose glycolysis happening in the cytoplasm, pyruvic acid with little amount of energy produced. In the absence of oxygen, ethanol and carbon dioxide produced with little amount of energy released. And this process of conversion of pyruvic acid by yeast is actually known as fermentation. It is also known as alcoholic fermentation, since ethanol is produced as a byproduct. This kind of fermentation is made use of in many of the bakery industry, and also all the South Indian dishes that we have, that we consume, dosas and idlis and other things. There the dough that is prepared is actually out of fermentation only. As I was talking about, in our muscle cells, lactic acid is produced with little amount of energy, and this accumulation of lactic acid is the one which is the cause of all the fatigue that happens. And then due to the presence of oxygen, if oxygen is present, then in the mitochondria, this pyruvic acid is totally oxidized into carbon dioxide, water, with the release of high amount of energy. So now we are in a position to differentiate between aerobic and anaerobic respiration. Now aerobic respiration happens in all the living cells of higher organisms, and anaerobic respiration happens in lower groups of organisms. Aerobic respiration requires oxygen, and the end products are carbon dioxide and water with very high release of energy, that is around 38 molecules of ATP. All the reactions happen in the mitochondria except the reaction of glycolysis, the first one. And organic compounds are completely oxidized with the release of high amount of energy, and no toxic products are produced, so not at all harmful for the living organism. Whereas in anaerobic respiration, oxygen is not required. End products can be alcohol or lactic acid and carbon dioxide. Production of energy is very little, only around 2 ATP molecules, and most of the reactions take place in the cytoplasm itself. Organic compounds are not fully oxidized, or we can say they are incompletely oxidized, and that is the reason why there is less amount of energy that is released, and whatever products that are formed, they are actually harmful for the living organism. Now we come here to the different modes by which the parts of the plant respire. Now respiration in case of roots of a plant happen through the process of diffusion through the root hairs. Respiration in stems, the green parts, it is by stomata, whereas in the woody parts, that is, it is via lenticels. In the leaves, it takes place via tiny pores, what is known as stomata. Now in case of animals, you see, here some examples have been cited through the body surface. It is in case of amoeba and paramecium. It can be through the skin, moist skin. It is in earthworm and frog. Then via gills, it can be in fish, prawn, and when the insects are in the larval stage, that time they respire through the gills. Lungs are the respiratory organ of your snail, amphibians when they are on land, reptiles, birds, mammals. Trachea is the respiratory organ of a grasshopper, cockroach, housefly, mosquito. Mostly all the insects have got this tracheal system. This slide tells you about how the passage of air takes place in a human being. That is, how the air enters into our system, body, via nose or the mouth. Then it travels down through the pharynx and larynx, and primary filtration is actually done in the nasal passage itself, where we have got small hairs which captures all the unwanted dust and germs and everything, and only the purified air is allowed to go down, passing through the pharynx, larynx, trachea, and then it goes into the bronchi. The bronchi finally bifurcates, and then the trachea bifurcates into two bronchi, and then the bronchi further breaks up into smaller and smaller tubes, what we call as the bronchioles, and these bronchioles enter or end up in the small sac-like structures, what we call as the alveoli. It is this alveoli which are actually supplied with rich blood capillaries, where absorption of oxygen takes place. So the blood absorbs the oxygen going to the alveoli, and the venous blood which has come over there carries all the carbon dioxide produced in the different cells of the body. So there the exchange of gases actually takes place via diffusion because of the difference in the concentration gradient, and carbon dioxide from the venous blood supplied, that is surrounding the alveoli, it comes into the alveoli, and the oxygen rich which was on the other side of the alveoli goes into the blood, and in this way exchange of gases takes place. Now this figure illustrates the human respiratory system. This is actually where this diagram is from your NCERT, whereby you can see the nasal passage is shown, then the mouth cavity, the pharynx, the larynx, then the trachea bifurcating into two, that is the bronchi, and the bronchi further breaks down into smaller and smaller tubes, what we call as the bronchioles. The bronchioles end up in the saccular structures, what we call as the alveolar sac, and all of them are housed inside a spongy structure, what we call as the lung. The lung has got two membranes covering it, what we call as the pleural membranes, and it is placed inside the rib cage. So you can see the bones over there, and in between the bones, we have got the muscles that supports the movement. They are called as the intercostal muscles, and on the lower side, as you can see, there is a diaphragm. So during the inhalation and the exhalation process, there is a movement in the chest region, chest cavity, because of the movement of these ribs, the bony structure along with the we can say the intercostal muscles and the diaphragm. So that helps in the inhalation and the exhalation, that is your exchange of the gases. So that way human respiration takes place. Now in the other side, that is on the left hand side, you can see the alveoli is taken out from the lung, and then the enlarged structure of this alveoli is shown over here. Now during inhalation, what happens? This diaphragm and the muscles attached to the ribs, they contract, and the thoracic cavity expands. This makes the thorax move upwards and outwards, thereby increasing the volume inside the thoracic cavity. And this causes a decrease in the air pressure inside. As a result, what happens? Air from outside rushes into the lungs through the nostrils, trachea, bronchi, then through the thin walls of this alveoli. They diffuse thin walls of the alveoli, oxygen diffuses into the blood. Blood then supplies this oxygen to the tissues. This oxygen is then used in the cells for your cellular respiration. During exhalation, what happens? As a result of cellular respiration, lot of nutrients in the cells, carbon dioxide is produced. Result of cellular respiration of the nutrients in the cells, carbon dioxide gas is produced. This carbon dioxide gas is actually absorbed by the blood from the tissues and carried to the alveoli of the lungs. At this stage, the thoracic cavity returns to its normal size due to the relaxation of the diaphragm and the rib muscles, and carbon dioxide is pushed out of the body through the trachea and the nostrils. Now you all should know that breathing action actually occurs involuntarily, and the rate of the breathing, however, is controlled by the respiratory center of the brain. Actually, it is regulated by the brain. So now, having discussed the process of respiration and photosynthesis in the previous class, so we are in a position to compare the two processes. Respiration is a catabolic process as breakdown of food takes place. Photosynthesis is an anabolic process as construction is happening, construction of food molecule is happening. Carbohydrates are oxidized in respiration and energy is liberated. And in photosynthesis, carbohydrates are synthesized and light energy is actually stored in the form of glucose or chemical energy. Now, respiration takes place in all the living cells, whether it is green, non-green, doesn't matter at all. And there is a decrease in the weight of the body of the organism because food is broken down. Now, in this photosynthesis, the amount of carbon dioxide in the air decreases during photosynthesis, and it takes place only in the chlorophyllous cells of the plant. And during photosynthesis, the dry weight of the plant actually increases because food is manufactured. And in case of respiration, what happens? Oxygen is utilized, carbon dioxide and water are produced as byproducts. And in case of photosynthesis, what happens? Carbon dioxide and water are used and oxygen is produced as a byproduct. So in the end, I have just tried to show you the reaction. That is glucose plus oxygen giving you carbon dioxide, water and energy. Here, carbon dioxide and water combining along with your sunlight and chlorophyll, forming the glucose molecule along with oxygen and water. So that's all for now. Thank you.